Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Jay Stevens Podcast. This is episode number 140, dedicated to a team who on October the 5th, 2002, won his franchise's first playoff series in its 42-year history. The Anaheim Angels. And as always, thank you for listening and downloading to another episode of the podcast. On today's episode, we're talking a little bit about what's going on in the NFL surrounding COVID-19. The NBA Finals just got very interesting. And guys, looking ahead to next season, from what I heard about the NBA, it has me scratching my head. But first, the Indianapolis Colts defense continues to impress. I remember we had Jacob Mummert on from Colts Brawl on Tuesday. We talked about the defense, but if you watch the game on Sunday, the Colts defense continues to play better and better. For the first time in my life, I can honestly say the Colts defense is the best defense in the NFL, and I never, ever, ever thought those words would come out of my mouth. Not once. Not 1 second. Not one thought. Never. The Colts defense has never been good. Well, it's been okay. 2009 was a year where, if you look at the numbers, the defense was good, better than expected, but nothing like what we've seen within the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. And like I said before, in regards to football, baseball, basketball, or any sport you play, there is no reason to analyze or observe or make dogmatic statements about any team or about anything within the first quarter of that particular team's season. Well, the first quarter of the season is over, and it seems that the Colts defense continues to get better, and better. For all of you Bears fans out there, you guys weren't put in a good spot at all with Nick Foles being the quarterback. I told many people the Colts defense is too good to let a backup quarterback beat them. However, I had no idea the Colts defense was going to play in the way that they did, holding the Bears to only 11 points. I got a few numbers, a few stats for you. I know I don't normally dump a lot of stats out there, but this stuff about the Colts defense and how well they are playing, not just in franchise history, but just as a whole together, it's amazing. It's alarming. And the rest of the NFL needs to be put on notice and needs to watch what this team is doing, because one thing that keeps sticking out to me, their starting free safety, Malik Hooker, out. Rocky Sim, starting corner, was out for a little bit, came back and played better than expected. They're starting a rookie free safety in Julian Blackman, free safety from Utah. Amazing young man, amazing talent, and it's fun to watch him play. Here are a few things about the Colts defense that are alarming, and also I think that the other teams need to watch and need to be put on notice. Cleveland Browns, you're coming up this weekend playing the Colts. Y'all better be ready. Playing the Cowboys is one thing, but this Colts defense ain't nothing to mess with. The Colts defense held the Bears to 11 points and tallied 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 7 pass deflections, and 1 INT, while limiting their offense to 4 of 14 on third down, 29%. They have held their last 3 opponents to 11 points or less. The last time the Colts did that was weeks 15 through 17 of the 2013 season. The Indianapolis Colts only allowed 28 rushing. Let me say it again, because I don't think I got this. I'm reading some stuff off. But the Indianapolis Colts only allowed 28 rushing yards. Yeah, you can say, Jay, the Bears defense was stifled. It wasn't amazing. They missed Tariq Cohen. Okay, cool. They had injuries. But allowing only 28 rushing yards to a professional team, it's unheard of. Marking the fewest rushing yards the Colts have allowed in a game since September 27, 2009 versus the Arizona Cardinals. It's only the 10th time in franchise history that Indianapolis has held an opponent to 28 rushing yards or less. The last time the Colts had at least 7 total interceptions in the first 4 weeks of a season was 2015, which was 7. Also, one last thing, the Colts defense, and I know y'all around the league are saying, Jay, you're just talking up, comparing it to the franchise. Oh, I got some more for you, where it's comparing them to the rest of the league. The Colts defense ranks first in the NFL in the following categories. Points allowed, 56 points. Allowed 56 points in 4 games. Net yardage per game allowed, 236.3 yards. Net passing yards per game allowed, 159.3. Interception, 7. And then opponent third down percentage, 31.3. Hey, guys, this ain't Madden. As you guys all know, I play NCAA 14. This ain't that. Honestly, in that game, you find the right defense and you find the right offense, you can make sure a team does not score many points, especially in Heisman. I'm not a guy that cheats the game, especially in that game. There is no reason for you to not have a good defense in NCAA football 14, Xbox 360. If you could find it, if you could find a copy, they're expensive, more expensive than when they first came out. Go ahead and do that. This Colts defense is amazing. It all starts up front, the front seven, the front four, the down linemen, an 8-man rotation. It keeps the players fresh, and they keep doing work every single week. The rest of the team, the Browns, you're up next. There's other teams around the league that have to play the Colts. Be put on notice. Be put on notice. I don't know if y'all are ready. The Houston Texans are 0-4, and the Colts still have to play them twice. Hey, guys, if y'all want to watch a good defense, find a way to watch the Colts play, because you will be very, very impressed with how physical and how dominating this group of players is every time they're on the field. Let's go ahead and take a trip to the Tennessee Titans training facility, because it seems like this is where everything started, where the shutdown began, and then it all trickled down to a postponement and another one when Cam Newton tested positive. Not what he got, when he tested positive for COVID-19. At some point throughout the season, many people believed, myself included, that there would be a time period where COVID-19 would find itself inside an NFL organization, an NFL franchise. Not sure if it would be staffers, if it would be coaches, if it would be a medical team, if it would be the owner, if it would be the players. Not sure who, but at some point, it was almost a foregone conclusion that there would be a time period where COVID-19 would rear up its ugly head inside of an NFL franchise. And at that time, we're also wondering, how would the team react? How would the league react? We all have our own beliefs in ways that we think is the best practice to combat and respond to COVID-19. Honestly, we all do. It's not something that you can say that you don't. If you don't, you may say, well, mine are this way, but they're not concrete. I don't know X, Y, and Z on how to respond to every situation with COVID-19. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just someone that observes, makes observations based off things that I observe via the news or in real life, not off the news, but also off the news and real life and in real life experiences, and then let things go on the way that they are. Myself, just being completely honest with you, I have an idea, but there are still times that I do not have an opinion or know a way to go about this particular situation. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going to come out and say, yes, I do know everything about this virus. I know how it spreads. I know how to slow it down. If I did, trust me, Jay would have a lot more money than he currently has. Jay may be traveling around the country to assist doctors, be on the Zoom calls all of the time. Why? Because there is a time period right now where if somebody has all of the answers, they would be on all of the Zoom calls, in all of the meetings. And Jay is not that guy. Jay would love to be a guy where he is able to help so many people to slow down the spread of COVID-19, but that is not the way the cookie crumbles with this situation. Also, I will say, with the NFL's response, quickly, swiftly, with this situation, pretty impressive, guys. Pretty impressive, legit impressive. I mean, with college football, as you watch that as a whole, and some of you in your local areas with high school sports, high school football, soccer, things of that nature, volleyball, sports that are going on right now. Can't forget golf, as I know a lot of places are playing golf right now as well. Here locally in Indianapolis, Indiana, there has been a time period where I looked at some records because I wanted to know how the local high schools are going about this. We're about to embark upon week number 8. Week 8 in the high school football season. Many schools have played 7 games already, but there have been some schools that have only played 6 games. There have been some schools that have only played 4 games or 5 games. Why? Because contact tracing or positive tests have canceled games. I remember one weekend, I think it was week 1, the game was canceled at 3:30. The game was supposed to start at 7. 3.5 hours before kickoff, the game was canceled. Why? because, well, the virus was there. And it wasn't, I'm just going to be completely honest with you, nobody on that team where the game was canceled 3.5 hours prior, nobody on that team tested positive for the Rona. I'm going to go back to the joke now. Nobody on that team tested positive for COVID-19. No one did. It was literally contact tracing. And I believe that with contact tracing, you're going to find that, well, more quarantines need to happen. If you test positive, if you test negative so many times, you're still in quarantine. You're thinking, well, I'm not sick. I don't have it. Why am I restricting myself when I don't have the virus? It could be 2 weeks later and you still don't have it. And, well, you still might not be able to play because you have to get back to practice to be able to play the game because you missed so much time. Well, with the NFL in college, everybody is responding to this quickly. It's amazing. It's going to be completely honest with you. It's amazing to watch, to see so many people responding quickly. You go to college, it's really interesting because I believe Virginia hadn't played a game until like week 4. I believe Houston and Baylor were able to put a game together quickly at the last minute, and then literally at the last minute, the game was canceled due to COVID-19. Now, for that situation, I forget if it was contact tracing or positive tests that were what derailed that particular program. I forget. But we've even seen in college game day where Kirk Herbstreit had to miss 1 week, which I still find that amazing. I'm not knocking him. I like Herbie. But it was really amazing where Herbie said he was around somebody due to contact tracing that had COVID-19, so he had to quarantine and stay away from game day and not travel that week. I get it. I understand that. He also stated that he had 2 negative tests. Now, we also know with the Rona that it could come up and could come back and be in Robert's ugly head later than after those first 2 negative tests. We get all of that. But one thing that I think was very interesting about that about game day, Herbie was back last week. He only missed 1 week when I thought you had to miss 2 weeks or quarantine for 2 weeks when you're around somebody with COVID-19. So maybe it's different situations for different people. I don't know. But at the same time, all I know is this thing is crazy. The NFL, I have to commend them. Not only did they respond quickly, swiftly in regards to the Steelers and Titans game that was at one time postponed, and when I saw that it was postponed, but the Titans training facility was not going to be open until Saturday. So you come out with the ruling on Monday or Tuesday, and all of a sudden you say, oh, facility is closed till Saturday. So the Steelers can practice. The Steelers can go to the facility. Steelers can get the treatment. The Steelers can lift weights. The Steelers can be around their coaches, but the Titans can't. It truly, when they said, oh, we're going to open it up on Saturday, but then have a game on Monday or Tuesday. So basically, you're going to tell the Titans players they can't practice, they can't hit, they can't do anything football until Saturday. So they're going to have a game, no hitting, no nothing until the following game. That seems very detrimental, very bad to the human body, and, well, almost leading up and asking for an injury to take place. That's just what I think about it. Now, the first thing I thought there was no way the Steelers and Titans play on Monday today or Tuesday tomorrow based off of just literally the Titans facility being shut down. Not at all. Now, also, you go back to the week before where A.J. Terrell tested positive for COVID-19, didn't play, the game still went on. And I think we're going to see more of that happen with the NFL. I think the problem with the Titans was they had so many people inside of the organization that had it. The NFL said, oh, whoa, we got to halt this operation. One thing I would like to see, maybe an unpopular opinion, one thing that I think goes on the regular job that doesn't happen in sports, when you have more money with something, sometimes you have more leeway with the decisions you can make. I know for a regular job, if somebody tests positive for the Rona or COVID-19, not the Rona, they're two different things. A cold, you could test positive for COVID-19 for the coronavirus because it's a cold. You take the COVID-19 test, and the CDC does go out and say that, well, with the test, the cold could come up. If you have the cold, you could test positive. That's legit a thing. Not a good thing for us, the individual, that the test cannot differentiate between COVID-19 and the coronavirus, but that's the way the virus is. That's the way the test is, and we are left here to wonder when we're going to get a more accurate test, when we're going to be able to differentiate between the popular, more common coronavirus and less common COVID-19. Coronavirus itself around more often. COVID-19 absolutely, definitely is not. So one thing I think that we may see more of, which we see in college, if you have so many players that test positive in a position group and you are below the threshold needed, the amount of players needed with that position group to go ahead and play that game, you're going to postpone or cancel that particular matchup. I think that we're going to see that down the road. We see it in college. I mean, college, we know about it. They have it all over the place. This is the way that this is going to go. This is the way that that's going to go. College is very, very specific. NFL sent out a memo just reminding teams of the protocols about virtual meetings, about PPE and face masks, about all meetings being virtually, about PCR testing, about tier 1 and tier 2 individuals, about what they must do as far as receiving the daily testing, about how gloves should be worn Gloves should also be worn on field by all players except quarterbacks who may leave the throwing hand uncovered. I'm reading this stuff right from the NFL memo that they sent out on October the 1st. I mean, the NFL sending things out, but I do think at some point the NFL is going to say, well, we can't keep postponing games. We're going to have to make a decision that regular businesses make on a regular basis. If somebody tests positive, you're out for 2 weeks, no questions asked, go home, don't leave home, find a way to get your food, find a way to get your groceries, and go on about your life after your quarantine period is up. I know somebody personally that got hit with the contact tracing. I know more people that actually have had COVID-19. So the whole quarantine 2 weeks, I get it. I understand it. Is it fun? Is it enjoyable? Not at all. But if you get sick, stay home. It's not that hard. When you get the flu when a kid gets the flu, they stay home. For some reason, as adults, we get the idea, oh, I've been guilty of this as well. I'm sick. Let me go ahead and be around all these people. Hey, buddy, this ain't the time for that. If you are sick, if you're not feeling well to the point that you should not go out, don't go out. Very, very simple concept. Very, very simple object to handle. So easy for many people, even a kid, to handle it. But for some reason, adults don't want to. So I do think the NFL is going to go back and say, well, if you don't have enough players at this position group, don't play. I don't think they're going to keep postponing games. And honestly, I'm not a fan of the postponing of games unless it's needed. And if it's, trust me, if there's positive cases around and you can't go, Mike Norvell, coach of Florida State, he didn't coach a game. He wasn't at the game he wasn't at the Miami game because he, I believe, tested positive for COVID-19. He was at home. He even found a way to coach from home. They put up different video cameras and different screens for him to watch practice while he was at home, and even set up a speaker for him to speak almost like a God-like figure. Not saying he's God, but a God-like figure where he's not there, but he is barking out orders at the players as things are going on. Why? Because he is that serious about coaching his team. Unfortunately, Florida State's still trash, but it's still nice to know that even though a coach is down, can't go out to practice, it's nice to see him still doing things at home to assist his team. Nobody wants COVID-19 here. Nobody wants COVID-19 around. We got to live with it. We got to deal with it. For a very long time, COVID-19 has caused people to say, shut down the league, shut down the season, postpone it, go into a bubble. I don't believe that's going to happen. I'm very amazed that baseball went into a bubble right now. I do understand why they did it from their mindset, but I don't think it's needed. I do think it's kind of odd that the Atlanta Braves, they allowed fans to be outside of the stadium and put up a screen for them to watch, but they weren't inside the stadium. They weren't allowed inside the stadium to watch the game. Very, very odd. You're allowing them to go be closer together outside the stadium than they would be inside the stadium. But Jay's not in charge. Jay just observes things and then lets things fall, let the chips fall where they may. NFL, I got to commend you on how swiftly you moved. I also thank you for not postponing or canceling the season based off of the little bit of the very few amount of positive test cases that we have seen in the NFL. There's going to be more. I mean, I didn't talk about Cam Newton or the Patriots, where that game got pushed back until today, this evening. A doubleheader on Monday night, one on CBS, the other, I believe, on ESPN. Nice to have a couple of games. I think for many football fans, it's nice to have a Patriots-Chiefs game, one that's enjoyable. But when you get a backup quarterback starting and Brian Hoyer, I'm not sure how many people will be watching past the second half, because I truly believe that the Chiefs will dominate, kill like they did last week against the Ravens, and then, well, they'll continue their undefeated season. COVID-19, go away. Get out of here. Tired of you. Can't get my thoughts together because you're annoying me. But at the same time, We got to learn to deal with it, learn to move on, and learn to continue our lives with COVID-19. So many people have. Enjoy that. I like it. But also, so many people are wondering when there will be another shutdown because they're encouraging another shutdown. I don't think that's needed. I think that's going backwards. And actually, as Americans, as people, moving backwards is not the way that we go. We move forward. We keep moving forward. And let's keep moving forward and finding ways to slow down COVID-19 while also being able to live our lives in a safe manner. Before we begin talking about the NBA Finals, Jimmy Butler's performance, and what this means and the importance of this particular series, we have a word from Plutus Sports Analytics. Plutus Sports Analytics is a company based on minimizing the uncertainty in sports betting to help you maximize your profit. Newfoundland's first sports analytics team provides daily predictions for all Major League sports, so you can win big. Whether you want to hit MLB picks out of the park or get a slam dunk on your NBA betting tickets, Plutus is a company of choice. Head to PlutusSportsAnalytics.com, that is PLUTUS, sportsanalytics.com, and use code JSP10 for 10% off their daily service. The NBA Finals, game number 3. I truly believe going into it, many people were like myself and believed that there was a good chance, a really, really, really good chance, good shot, that the Lakers would find a way to sweep the Heat. No Goran Dragic, no Bam Adebayo, 2 of your starters, and when you look at the starting lineup, when I saw Andre Iguodala in the starting lineup, I am thinking, oh boy, this one is not going to take long to end. However, there's a guy by the name of Jimmy Butler who does not get very much respect around the league from fans. Even a lot of players try to downplay his play and downplay the kind of player that he is. You can knock Jimmy Butler. You can say that he is a bad player, a bad teammate. You can say whatever you want. But there were moments like he had on Sunday night. I almost said Monday. Monday's today. You almost have moments like he had on Monday night where we're reminded that Jimmy Butler is a fighter. He keeps moving forward, and he's going to keep fighting to push his team further and further in this series to get them to take the Larry O.B. from Orlando back down to Miami, Florida. I don't think anybody expected a 40-point triple-double from Jimmy Butler. Only one of 3 players to ever have a 40-point triple-double in the NBA Finals. The other 2, Jerry West, and then a gentleman that he is playing right now in these finals, LeBron James. So we think about Jimmy Butler, we think about his play, we think about how this series has gone, we think about the defensive strategies that Spo has been putting out, we think about everything that is going on, and you keep thinking about the other team, the Lakers, who has LeBron James, and the other team who has Mr. Anthony Davis. When you have those 2 players together, when you put those 2 players on the court together, it's really, really telling, and it's really, really eye-opening just to think about how crazy, how good that team should be with those 2 players. But we also know if you minimize one or you minimize the other, well, it's a different kind of game. It's a different kind of series. And what I liked from Jimmy Butler wasn't just his efficiency, because I wasn't expecting him, and I don't think you were expecting him either, to go 14 of 20 from the field. Very, very efficient, almost 75%. I don't think anybody was expecting Jimmy Butler to do that. The one thing that I liked, he kept getting to the line. Late game situations, there were numerous times, no matter if it was LeBron, if Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, or someone else that was guarding him, there were numerous times that that Jimmy Butler was like, okay, look, me versus you, 1-on-1. I remember one time he took LeBron baseline, and then kind of LeBron claimed to use a chicken wing, but that chicken wing was out. It wasn't really a drastic or blatant kind of an elbow, but the chicken wing was out. Right elbow to LeBron's shoulder, kind of shielding himself or protecting himself from LeBron in the block. LeBron did foul him on that time in that play, which Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson did state very well. Then Jimmy Butler gets back to the line. LeBron complains like normal. LeBron, well, you're not going to get every call. I mean, granted, I'm thinking in that moment, why is he complaining like this when he only has 2 fouls? I understand the point that you may think that you are not the aggressor, but when you are, and it's late in the game. It's late in the fourth quarter. LeBron, 2 fouls that point in the game. It ain't that deep, bruh. It ain't that deep. Now, granted, I can see if you're about to foul out and it was your 6th foul, or if it was your 5th foul, you're thinking, whoo-wee, I gotta guard this guy. He's playing very physical. He's been at the end of the day. He was at the line. He shot 14 free throws, went 12 of 14, almost like Jimmy Butler was drinking Michael Jordan's secret stuff that he was drinking on Space Jam, that all the little Looney Tunes were drinking as well. Why? Because Jimmy Butler ain't this efficient. Have you watched Jimmy Butler play basketball? He's a good defender, great defender. I like his physicality. I like him as a player. But this brother, he ain't efficient like this. Also to the tune of playing 45 minutes. Jimmy, what got into you? Could you pass that to the other? Could you pass that to more players? Now, it wasn't just Jimmy Butler. Really surprising that you got 17 points from Kelly Olynyk. I mean, that was very not expected at all. But when in big games and big time moments, sometimes you need the others to step up. You need a bigger game from yourself as well. And we got exactly that from Kelly Olynyk. But Jimmy Butler, man, Jimmy Butler says, hey, I know y'all got LeBron. I know y'all got AD. I know what the Lakers mean. I know what the Lakers mean to the league, to the bubble. I know what the Lakers mean to everybody. I know that this is a Lakers 30-second trip to the NBA Finals, and when I think about that right now in my mind, it is very, very confusing. Not confusing in a bad sense, but it's almost like how have they gotten this far? How have they been this dominant? Now, at the same time, you go back and you add the wins from the Minneapolis. You can say, well, how come the Lakers can count all the things from Minneapolis, but the Oklahoma City Thunder can't say that they have won a title, even though the Seattle Supersonics won a title back in 1979? Hey, guys, I don't make the rules. I don't do stuff like that. All I know is a narrative. What is broadcast? Lakers 32 trips. Oklahoma City Thunder 0 titles. If you take away the Lakers finals and trips when they were in Minneapolis, it would be a lot less. And honestly, they would have less titles, I believe, than the Celtics. Let that one sink in. Celtics fans will like that statement. Lakers fans, not so much. I'm not here to garner up or to stir up a rivalry or to start up a bitter back and forth between the two squads. But that's literally how it is. Minneapolis Lakers, you count them when they're in LA. You count those titles as the Los Angeles Lakers. Oklahoma City Thunder, nah, baby. Nah. That cannot happen. As a Pacers fan, it would be great for the Pacers if they would go ahead and count the ABA titles that they have, which they have 3. Don't do that. Why? Because the Pacers have 0 NBA titles. I believe up in the rafters, they have the banners from those 3 titles, but it all says ABA. 0 from the NBA. So NBA titles as a franchise, I don't believe many people think of the 3 from the NBA for the Pacers. Why? Because that's a long time ago, and we care about things that you have done in that particular league. Coming up on Tuesday, I truly believe that the Heat will push the Lakers to the brink. And also, LeBron knows the way LeBron ended the game. And as he walked off the court with time left on the clock, LeBron's under scrutiny. LeBron is going to be talked about. LeBron is going to be the subject of so many conversations because of the way that he ended the game. We all go back to Isaiah Thomas and the way that he left that Eastern Conference Finals when the Pistons lost to the Bulls. I believe it was the 91 series. I believe it was the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals where they walked off the court while the game was going on, walked off the court right in front of the Bulls, might I add you. We all remember that. We all remember how Isaiah Thomas and those Pistons were viewed because of that moment. Hey, LeBron, when you make actions like this, you're almost asking the public to criticize you, to scrutinize you, and to basically do the things that's going on right now. Make videos, go on podcasts, go on TV shows, go on radio shows, and let people write articles and let people and have a way for people to express how they feel about you acting in that way at the end of that game. I get it, man. You lost. It sucks. I believe it was a 10-point loss. It's not fun, especially in that moment when you know in your heart of heart that if you won game 3, the series is over. You know that. But now you not only have to prolong the series, push it out, as I know you are exhausted, but also you're giving the Heat have life. The Heat have hope. And the one thing you don't want right now, the Jimmy Butler-led team is supposed to coach team, and also with Pat Riley up in top. And trust me, I said it before, I'll say it again. I truly believe Pat Riley is still putting in his 2 cents with this team, and Alonzo Mourning, as he's there with the franchise as well, to help them overcome this team, the Lakers. Not a David and Goliath situation, but there was a good belief with the Heat and many fans that going to the series, nobody put stock, nobody believed in the Heat except for Miami Heat fans. Coming up Tuesday, Game 4, and throughout the rest of the series, very, very focused on not just Jimmy Butler, but the others of the Heat and how they combat what we're going to experience, what they're going to experience in Game 4, Game 5, and if it gets prolonged beyond that point. Because, guys, this series is getting good, and I hope you don't miss another second of this series. Speaking of this series, think about the finals, not this year, but next year, 2020-2021 season, which very well could be the 2021 season, not played any portion of that in 2020. This is something I was going to talk about a week ago, but I held off because there was more stuff going on. But I think of what's going on right now, especially with the NFL and COVID-19, I truly believe that the NBA is going to put themselves in an interesting situation. Bob Costas, a contributor for CNN, we all know him, longtime guy for he did some calling, he called some NBA games, longtime baseball broadcaster, big baseball fan, longtime legend in the broadcasting field, also a guy that was the voice and did covered so many Olympics. Bob Costas interviewed Adam Silver, and Adam Silver in that interview made a statement that said, next season, we're looking to play all 82 games and play them in front of fans. Part of that I do believe is good. It's amazing. I think they could do it now. Honestly, I know one of the rare ones, but I truly believe that they could do it now, safely, in a timely manner. It wouldn't be that hard. We're seeing it all around the country right now, where people are inside of arenas, of gymnasiums. People are gathering together all over the place, doing it safely, and they are enjoying sports as a family, as friends, as people that don't know each other, but they're enjoying it. They're gathered around one common ground and enjoying what they're watching at that time. We're watching it all over the place. But when Adam Silver says he's looking to play all 82 games next season in front of the NBA fans, I remember one statement that the NBA said they don't want to play back in front of fans until there's a vaccine. Well, by the time that the projected next start of the next season is going to be, I've heard people say that they don't believe it's going to happen until mid-January, all the way back until mid-March. Well, I remember with me living locally here in Indianapolis, I remember when they said that the reservations for the All-Star game are going to be pulled and that there will be no All-Star game next season. I was like, whoa, hold on, y'all, what's going on? Because I truly believed that the NBA was going to start on time in the way that at the time period they had projected to start, being Christmas. Almost a de facto way that many NBA fans believe the NBA season starts already anyway. So that's kind of the way that goes. But guys, I am very, very curious and looking out to see how this is going to go. The NBA ratings right now for the finals are trash. They're absolutely garbage. If you go back and look at things that are going on in the NBA as far as ratings wise, game 1, horrible. Game number 2, even worse. Game number 3, which was played during Sunday Night Football. Now, granted, it was the Eagles and the 49ers, but we all know how popular the NBA Finals, football is, and how football is still king here in America. If the NBA plays an 82-game season starting, even if it's in January, let me think about this very quickly. The season starts in October, so it's November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 6 months. So if the season starts, let's say it starts in January. That's 6 months down the road, mid-January to mid-June. Then you have 2.5 months of the NBA playoffs as they are going to be played around fans. And that's going to be mid-June, so mid-July, mid-August. You're going to be having the NBA season finish finals right at the beginning, in September, right at the beginning of the NFL season, college football season. And with ratings being this bad right now, and you're losing money based off advertisements and a loss of eyeballs on the screen, I don't think it's wise, Adam Silver, to do that. I know you want to try to recoup all the money and play 82 games together and get back as much money as possible. I truly get that. Hey, baby, shorten up that season. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. Before the NBA came back, I said I don't think it's wise for the NBA to come back because it's going to hurt the calendar for the very next season, and that's what we're finding out right now. Playing 82 games, I get it. But you're going to lose a whole lot of money, as I know that's what you're in a business of making. You're in a business of making money, not just entertainment, but you're in a business of making money because the more money you make for the league, the more money you make as a whole. And we all know if we can get our hands on more money, that's a whole lot better, and we're a whole lot happier in that situation. Adam Silver, man. And there's more details to this thing. I know that California, they're going to be able to play there actually, I know they could now. Oregon, they're able to, Pac-12 country, they're able to play now. No, Colorado, they started to crack down on what's going on there in certain areas. I mean, local areas are going to have different abilities, capabilities, things like that. But once local officials start looking at what's going on in our country as a whole, there's been gatherings going on for quite a long time. And the people have been outside and things haven't been that drastic. Once they figure out how things are going with the virus inside, and once they find a way, like I mentioned earlier, to differentiate with the test for it to be solely only COVID-19 and not take the test and not you be tested and pick up other strains of other things, once they can get just that, you don't need a vaccine, baby. You don't. I mean, contact tracing is one thing. Not going to give my opinion on that. But I do believe, honestly, guys, the NBA needs to find a way to get this thing and find a way to tighten this thing down, not have as many games played. You put yourself behind the 8 ball. I know I'm happy the NBA came back. I thought for a business decision, it was a little sketchy, iffy to do that. It worked out. Amazing. They found a way to make this thing work. But going into next season, do you want to keep playing catch up? Because next season, if you end up playing into September, all through September, well, the 2021-2022 season, you're behind the 8 ball again. You're going to be playing catch up once again. And the NBA will be playing catch up for the next 3 to 5 years if they keep playing on this level at this rate. Guys, NBA, I like you. I love you. Big basketball fan. But Adam Silver, I think that you may want to recalculate how this is going to work. Shorten up this upcoming season to go ahead and have the season after that, the 2021-2022, so you can get back on schedule. Thank you for listening to the episode of the Jay Stevens Podcast. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07 if you're not on Twitter and you would love to connect with the podcast. And your emails to jstevenspod@gmail.com. Remember to always subscribe, rate, and review. It's a great way for people that are searching for a new podcast to listen to come across this one. Then remember to always get the word out about the podcast via word of mouth. The things that we enjoy in life, we are more willing and somewhat wired to tell other people about. So no matter if this was your first episode or if you have been listening since episode number 1, be sure to let people know about the podcast. This has been episode 140 of the Jay Stevens Podcast. I'll see you next time.